If you're a guy with IBS, this could actually make your symptoms worse, and most people don't realise it until it's too late. People are now given gut health advice after just 40 hours training. What? Yes, 40 hours training, and I want to explain why this is genuinely dangerous and why this is concerning. So imagine trusting someone with your IBS, which is your health after all, because they've got a shiny new certificate, but they earned it in a weekend, or maybe a week, or maybe 28 days if they're really dragging it out. Sounds mad, right? It's shocking, but this is exactly what's happening online right now. So in the next few minutes, I want to show you how to spot fake gut health experts, why these fast track certifications are a huge red flag, and how to protect yourself from advice that could seriously backfire and keep you stuck with symptoms. So I work exclusively with men with IBS as the men's IBS and performance dietitian, and I see the damage and fallout that this kind of advice causes far too often. And what's fueling it is the explosion of fast-track gut health certifications. I'm talking about ads promoting that anyone, literally anyone, can become a gut health expert in as little as a weekend. And here are some claims, some real claims that I've seen, and you might have seen them as well. Get fully qualified in just 40 hours. Become a certified gut health practitioner by next week. Finally get paid what you're worth. This certification gives you credibility. And my personal favourite, we value real world experience over medical degrees. What? Now, let's just pause on that one for a moment. We value real world experience over medical degrees, basically meaning that they don't want people doing their courses to worry about the boring stuff like anatomy, physiology, medications, nutrition, health, anything like that. Quality scientific evidence, safety, or clinical training. Just bring your vibes, bring your money, and we'll get you qualified in a flash, just like that. And here's why that's such a problem. These people are completing a fast track course and then charging for health advice, and advice that could affect more than your wallet. It can affect your symptoms, your quality of life, and even your long-term health. When you've got IBS or other gut problems, you're vulnerable. You're understandably frustrated, you're in pain, you're desperate for answers, and that makes quick fix promises really tempting. You know, there's even research showing that people with IBS would give up 25% of their remaining life, which is about 15 years, just to be symptom free. So I get it. IBS can be hideous, and when you feel like that, it's tempting to try anything under the sun. Wanting relief doesn't make you stupid, but you don't need to take big risks to get it. But these fast track courses come with serious risks. So if you're wondering how to spot fake health experts, here are the big giveaways. So they often teach alternative, non-evidence-based stuff, the kind that goes against established clinical evidence and guidelines. They focus on mindset and generic coaching frameworks instead of clinical knowledge. And yes, mindset and frameworks matter, but not without the clinical side of things. If the soon-to-be qualified person doesn't understand their body that they're advising on, then that's a massive problem, and there could be huge risks for the person that's going to see them. They hand out unregulated certifications that look official but aren't recognised by any reputable medical or regulatory body, and yet the people who take these courses go out into the world calling themselves practitioners, coaches, or gut health experts, or anything else they fancy calling themselves, and they start charging for advice that can directly affect your health. I find that really scary, and it really does my head in because of the very real risks to you. So here's what it means for you. You could be given rubbish advice that actually makes your symptoms worse. It could cause you more harm than good as well. You waste months, maybe even years, stuck on unnecessary restrictive diets, detoxes, gut cleansers, or anything else that could do you more harm than good. And most worryingly, An underlying medical condition could be missed because spotting red flags and knowing when to refer back to the doctor isn't something that you learn on a weekend course. And these people are not trained to spot red flags like celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, or even bowel cancer. Those need proper clinical assessment, not coaching. They also don't know how to look at the bigger picture. For example, if you've got IBS and type 2 diabetes, my recommendations would be based around the evidence-based guidelines that balance gut symptoms, blood sugars, medications, overall health, and obviously your personal preferences and what you want. Someone trained in a weekend simply doesn't have the background to do that safely or effectively. And here's a real world example of how this can go wrong. So a weekend trained practitioner might say, oh, you've got diarrhea, so you need to eat X, Y, and Z, avoid A, B, C, D, E, F, and take these supplements that you can buy from me. And what they won't consider is that your diarrhea might actually be the side effect of your medication, like metformin for type 2 diabetes. They won't think about the nutrient deficiencies of that, like vitamin B12, and they won't consider drug nutrient interactions because they haven't been trained to. And this is where men with IBS get stuck, doing everything right but still getting worse. And that's the difference. And just because someone's got IBS themselves doesn't mean that they're qualified to safely and effectively help others with IBS. Lived experience is not the same as clinical competence, and confusing the two in health is risky. Yes, in some areas, obviously, lived experience is useful, like, for example, if someone is teaching you how to play the piano or helping you set up a business, that can make sense. But in health is different. When it comes to health, there's far more at stake than just money. And yes, you can usually earn money. Yes, a bit of a kick in the spuds if you've lost money, but you can get money back. But you can't always undo the damage to someone's health. So safe, effective advice needs evidence, context, and proper training, not a shopping list of supplements and remedies and a one-size-fits-all protocol that actually fits absolutely no one. And honestly, I'm not actually that bothered about the risks to those so-called qualified coaches and gut health experts, but I do think it's helpful to share this with you, so then you've got an awareness and an understanding of what's going on and the risks to you, because you could be on the receiving end of one of these cowboys, to put it plainly, who have fast-tracked their qualifications and they're now calling themselves a gut expert. But what I am bothered about is the risks to you, because you're the one paying the price. And I don't mean just financially. These people can charge hundreds of dollars or more after completing just a 40-hour course, only to realise that they're completely at their depth and actually they can't help you. And then what happens? What happens then? Do they wing it and they end up making things worse for you? Do they refer you on to someone who is actually competent and properly trained, who does actually know what they're doing and can actually do it safely and effectively? Or do they just ghost you? And then you're left frustrated, out of pocket, and still feeling unwell. And that's why I talk about this stuff so openly with you, because I care about your health and your well-being, and I don't want you wasting your money or risking, like more importantly, or risking your health because someone looked the part but actually wasn't trained to help you or help you safely. So here's the difference between a weekend certificate and a registered healthcare professional like a doctor or a dietitian like myself. So we spend years studying and across multiple degrees. We complete hundreds to thousands of hours of supervised clinical training. We're regulated by bodies like HCPC or the General Medical Council, GMC, with clear ethics and standards of practice. And we use evidence-based practice, so the latest scientific evidence and clinical guidelines, and then tailor it to the individual, not just blanket advice and not someone's favourite detox, someone's favourite dodgy diet or miracle supplement or remedy and just winging it. If someone's selling IBS solutions without recognised qualifications, clinical training or regulation, you're not buying expertise, you're buying guesswork, because anyone can call themselves a gut expert. And when it comes to IBS, guesswork isn't harmless. It costs people time, money, and sometimes their health, unfortunately. So here's the bottom line. There are shed loads of people trying to shortcut their way to credibility and make money off people like you struggling with IBS and gut symptoms, and people not willing to invest in themselves so they can safely and effectively practice and help people with IBS and other health conditions. And companies are cashing in by selling shiny certificates to make it all look legitimate. But when it comes to your gut and your health, you need more than marketing and fancy graphics. You need real expertise. I'm not saying you shouldn't get help, because obviously you absolutely should, but just be savvy about who you go to. Choose someone that's properly trained, regulated, and evidence-based. Someone who's spent years studying the science and completing hundreds and hundreds of hours of real life hands-on clinical training. Not just someone who's got so-called certified after a few hours of flicking through a few PDFs and skim watching a couple of videos, because you deserve better than guesswork. And I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, please share it with someone else who might need to hear it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.